So just so you all know, I will be fast forwarding through some of the video, just so that we can get to the meat of what he's talking about. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's start this up.
Hardest genres of photography to learn. It's mainly because there's no real one way to do it. Well folks, what if I told you that there is a way that you can get really good at street photography simply by just that are going to help you build your necessary skills and fundamentals as a street photographer. And as long as you have by the end of this video,
This is how AI optimizes my schedule.
Sorry about that,
got canceled. Hooray! We didn't really want to go.
You are going to learn 4 of the projects that helped me develop my skills for street photography. You'll be able to identify what to look for out on the street, as well as some of the technical aspects and basic compositions. Okay. Now the first project we're going to be talking about is called fishing for scenes. And fishing for scenes is going to refer to the practice of fishing. Now the first project we're going to be talking about is called fishing for scenes. And fishing for scenes is going to refer to the practice of where you don't really have a set subject. And one of the main things you need to learn about street photography is timing. So that is the objective for this first exercise.
So that's entirely true. The way that I look at street photography a lot is you are a director on a set and the people out on the street are actors. You have to pick the location, and once you find your favorite location or a location that fits what you're trying to tell or portray, then it's about setting up the composition and waiting for the right actor to take stage. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of times we're very reactive on the street. You have to always be mindful of what's going on around you and keeping your head on a swivel in order to not miss moments. That's why you'll hear a lot of photographers say that they like to stick to one camera, that they learn the camera in and out, so they're not worried about funneling with settings or anything like that, because they want to really make sure that they're locked in to just focusing on what's going on around them and what is happening so that they can capture and not miss any moments out on the street.
That's what we'll be talking about. And you're just gonna wait for someone to walk.
When I tell you that fishing is such a great technique, and it's one of the most common and basic techniques in street photography. A lot of people think that when you're out on the street, you're always just gonna have things happening around you, so you're always continuously gonna be shooting. And that's not always true. Sometimes you're going to be sitting in a spot that you like because the lighting's nice and the shadows are right, and you'll be sitting there maybe 30, 35, maybe an hour waiting for a actor to take stage. And it's all about just being ready, having the patience and resilience to wait out those scenes and be ready to capture once an actor takes stage. There are a lot of days where, if I had it still like it was in the old days, where we would be out on the street for maybe 4 or 5 hours, sometimes 6. We've done all day street photography walks. And a lot of times it's the resilience and still keeping the same base techniques together in order to capture the scene no matter how long that you're out on the street for.
Through that frame. But the idea here, folks, is to really get a sense of timing. You want to be able to see where this person needs to be in the frame so that they interact with that background. Now, once you do that, you want to wait until they are at the perfect point in your composition and make the photograph. And I want you to do this maybe 2 to 3 times. Photograph someone walking through the frame this way, photograph someone walking through the frame that way, and really get a rhythm for where people need to be in your frame before you make the image. It's extremely simple, and a lot of times you can find really interesting things out on the street, especially in like midday light where the shadows are huge and they're casting this beautiful light. Practice your timing by fishing for a scene. Next up, light and shadow play. Now, the objective for this project is simple. You want to make a photograph using highlights and shadows together in one frame. And this is a really popular thing amongst photographers who shoot black and white because...
So, and I'm sorry to cut him off, but I know a photographer who specifically does light and shadow play in color, and it's beautiful. It's almost sometimes like a painting, and he does it so well, and he's based in Atlanta. Bam is a great photographer. I'm going to link his Instagram right here at the bottom of the screen, but you all should definitely check him out. I mean, he's somebody who definitely does the light and shadow play to one of the highest forms that I've seen, because yes, traditionally a lot of people will do light and shadow play in black and white. I've seen it done in black and white majority, but people like Bam and other people too as well who love shadows and the way that they intersect with light, especially when they're broken up in between buildings, they will use that type of technique a lot. And it's one that, if done well, it looks really great, and it's something that just draws people in. So that's definitely a technique to practice. If you don't practice it, get out, look for the shadows. We call it shadow chasing. Get out, chase the shadows, look for where it intersects the light, and you can make some really great images that way.
You can create some really cool compositions just simply using shadows and highlights. A lot of times these shadows cast really beautiful geometric patterns, and you can really utilize that pattern between your highlight and shadow to create some amazing compositions. But there are a couple of things you need to keep in mind. Number one, you want to expose for your highlights. And the reason for this is because while your highlights are going to be nicely exposed, your shadows are going to get crushed.
I'm going to fast forward just a bit.
If you see something out on the street that you find interesting, whether that's a group of people or maybe a really nice car, or let's just say there's a busy intersection and you notice there's a lot of activity that you want to document, you want to be able to craft a scene. Now, where the focal length of your lens comes into play is going to be the distance in which you photograph a scene. So if you're shooting with something like a 28mm or even like a 35mm lens, you want to be able to photograph scenes from about 10 feet away. And if you're using a manual focus lens, all I want you to do is set your focus to 10 feet. And the best part about street photography is no one can tell you what to photograph. You essentially just photograph what you like, as well as kind of like what you see. And if you see something that is interesting and you want to make a photograph of it, that is your decision.
Now that's really big. I have a lot of people who ask me how to get into street photography, what should they be photographing when out on the street, and like he just said, it is up to you. You are the director. You choose what to take photos of. You might hear a lot of purists tell you that you should only be photographing people, and you have a lot of purists who tell you, you know, they don't photograph homeless people, and it's really up to you. It's all about what your aim is and why you're photographing. And if you haven't found your why in photography, you should definitely check out my How to Find Your Why in Photography video, because that will help you understand why you're making photographs. And then when you're out on the street, you'll know what it is that you're trying to capture and portray in your images. A lot of what we do capture is something that does speak to us as an artist, and so that's very unique to you. I can't tell you what to photograph. King Jvpes can't tell you what to photograph. Peter McKinnon can't tell you what to photograph. None of these people can tell you what you should be photographing, because that decision solely lies up to you. So always keep that in mind, that you make the rules. But we're going to go ahead and fast forward here, and we're going to get into the one of his assignments that he has for us, which is the 3 basic compositions. So let's go ahead and get into
these compositions and utilize them within a photograph. The first composition is going to be a leading line. And leading lines are absolutely everywhere. And if you don't know what a leading line is, think of it as a line that's going to drag your eye from one end of the frame to the other end of the frame. And a subframe is essentially just a frame within a frame. Now, if you make a photograph, buildings, and it's your job as a photographer to learn how to identify these things, where to look. And last but not least, folks, we have reflections. Now, there's a few different ways to utilize reflections. The first way is through symmetry. Our human eyes are naturally drawn to symmetry. And so if you find something that can kind of mirror a subject, you're going to create a scene that is extremely beautiful. But on the flip side, reflections can also be used to reveal a subject. So, for example, a puddle on the ground kind of showing a building, or maybe something like a mirror showing, someone's face in it, even though their back is turned to you.
And so those are the 3 assignments. I wanted to go ahead and kind of cut the video there because he goes in detail more about the meaning behind each composition that he wants us to capture. And of course, I linked his video early on, so if you want to go and check his video out to get his full explanation of it, you're more than welcome to do that. But we went ahead and hit the streets to try these 3 composition techniques, which are leading lines, subframe, and reflection. So I'm going to take you all to the past, which was this morning, and you all are going to see a POV style how I got out and practiced these 3 techniques in my street photography.
All right, guys and girls, I hope that you can hear me. Today, like I said, in the studio, we're out to capture or to do King Jvpes video or project on street photography. So like he said, he has 3 key things that he wants us to practice. And then of course we are going to be able to practice those things and then go from there. Let's see, I just want to switch some settings real quick. So he said, you want to practice a subframe. This is not really how I would do a subframe. I just wanted to capture this courtyard real quick of the church. I thought that was really interesting. All right, so we're outside today to do the project. 3 things he told us he wants us to look for are leading lines, subframes, and reflections. So that's what we're out here to do today. We're gonna look for our leading lines, subframes, and reflections, and we are going to make sure that we can do the project. Let's see if this improves our photography skills. Again, this is not a I'm not doing this video to jest at him or anything like that of the sort. I'm simply doing this as somebody who's been doing street photography for a couple years now. One is not bad practice, it's good practice, and it just gives you a new way to look at stuff as we're out here on the street. So there are a couple things to do as we're out here and what we're looking for, being able to capture life. So that's what we're here for. So like I said, we're gonna look for leading lines. Leading lines is usually the easiest one to look for when you're out on the street. Doesn't take too much thought process. This is a windy morning. Closer to the window. Actually, let me go closer. Can't see you. Just like that. There we go. Now that's a better reflection. I like that a lot better. And I just shooting just random shots just to say that we shot something. So these lamps, I don't know if y'all can see, I can kind of tilt you up. These lamps can kind of be used as a subframe. I could use this as a frame. We're gonna be framing the lamp straight like that. You know what I'm saying? That's a more interesting framing, you know, and I like that. So that's pretty interesting. And then we want to do so we did reflections, we did subframes. I honestly want to get a better leading line. The first leading line I got was kind of trash, and I didn't really care for it. So we're gonna try for a better one. See what that looks like through your eyes. It's the best thing ever, you know. But here you are, you know. So there's a reason why I stopped, and that was because he became the subject for the leading line. Scaffolding, if you're in a city, area, metropolis, like Houston, like New York, like Atlanta, like LA, Miami, any of those places that has a large, dense city population, scaffolding becomes the easiest way to do a leading line, the easiest way. And so like it's very easy to just hold up, and I'm sure that he was a little suspicious of why I stopped moving, but at the same time, you know, it was very much easy to just, you know, hey, here we are. You know, there's my leading line. Now I feel better. So let's head back to the studio. Let's talk about some of the stuff that we did out here on the street, how we feel about King Jvpes' advice to new street photographers, and we'll wrap the video up.
All right, so you guys got to see me practice those frames. Let me know how you feel about the photos that I took. Do you think that I need more practice? Do you think that they show you all a great example on what his 3 composition techniques that he wanted us to practice? You let me know how you feel about it. Will you get out and practice these techniques? I really would like to know. I would also love to see them. So if you tag his challenge, which is I think it's Street Photography Basics. Let's see what it is real quick.
Be maybe like a 30-minute walk at the end of your workday. I am going to be running a little fun challenge if you want scenes, and if there are a lot.
So it's hashtag fishing for scenes. That's the hashtag he's using. So I would love to see your work on there. Tag me in it. That would be great. I would love to check it out and see what you all got out and did with his little tutorial practice. It was a great tutorial. It was great practice, even for somebody who's been doing it for a while. And I hope that you all got something useful from the video. If you did and you want to see more content like this, please let me know. I will love to keep this type of content. Also, let me know down below what type of content you all like to see me do on this channel, as I'm here to be an aid and help. I'm not a guru, but I will love to give my opinion and help you all on your photography journey any way that I can. That's why I'm here. So if you found any value in the video, please like, comment, subscribe. Those really help me keep going, keep motivated to keep making videos for you all and dropping videos on this channel. As I always say, we're trying to build a community of photographers that help strengthen photographers. Iron sharpens iron. And like always, I will see y'all on the next video. Peace.